Hi, I'm Tian and I'm with a Durham student. And today I'm joined by two of my friends to talk about what it's like to study the Arts and Humanities in Durham. So firstly, can you guys just give me your Durham stats, which is your college, name and year? And also a bonus, where is home for you?
So I'm Bella from St. Chad's, year one.
Doing
Philosophy and Theology.
Great. And then where are you from, Bella?
I'm from Morpeth.
Great. Then Danish.
Hi, I'm Danish. I study visual arts and film, first year as well, from Collingwood, and I'm from West Yorkshire.
Great. And then I guess the first question that probably you guys are wondering is, what was your route into Durham? So, what did you do before Durham? How did you consider coming to Durham for university?
Well, I'm going to be honest, I was an Oxford reject. And when I applied there, I was applying for fine art, right? Mm-hmm. My teacher in college always pushed me towards art. It's something I've always been interested in. It's not like something I actually studied at like college or high school, but visual arts and film at Durham was a far more like analytical approach. It focused more on essays, it focused more like critically analyzing rather than actually making art, and I found that more appealing than Oxford.
Well, I did religious studies at A-level, which kind of encompasses ethics, philosophy and religion. And it really inspired me. A bit like Danish, originally I wanted to do fine art at university because that was also another passion I had. But I realised I couldn't create art if I didn't do philosophy and theology because that was my main inspiration. And throughout this year, all of the course and like content that I've learned has kind of like made me understand that I made the right choice picking this degree.
That's great. And then I know both of you two are first years. So how have you found like moving to Durham from home? And how did you find Fresher Week as well?
I found it really kind of difficult moving from home. I took a year out before coming here just to like save up and work beforehand. And I was really nervous that I would struggle to make friends if everyone else had come straight from A-levels because they would be a year or 2 years younger than me, depending on where in the country they were from. And I think Freshers Week was particularly daunting because I wasn't really somebody who went out clubbing, and I knew that was a big part of the university experience. But I don't know how it is with all of the other colleges, but St. Chad's was really kind of like good for showing you other ways of spending your time during Freshers Week other than clubbing. I know on the first night, me and my friend Elizabeth, we didn't want to go out, so we just like stayed in and painted together, which was a really nice way to kind of like chat and kind of get rid of all of the stress of the day.
Well, I found Freshers Week to be very similar to you, very chilled out. I'm not a clubbing person either. I just prefer like just chilling out with friends, having a game of cards or something. So Freshers Week was it was very daunting because like there's a lot of like assumptions about Collingwood, and that I had like this mindset that everyone around me would be smarter than me, and that wouldn't really fit in. But when I truly like immersed myself into Freshers Week, I found myself to like really connect with people, very like-minded people, and I enjoyed it very much.
And then just going back towards your degree as well, what was some of the expectations you had? So Denise, you already made the point about like feeling a bit of imposter syndrome around everyone feeling smarter. How have you found like your course mates, and how have you found, what was your expectations before studying your degree compared to reality after doing it for a year?
Well, I found getting into my degree really very the assumption like making friends in my degree is not, since it's so small. Visual arts and film is such a small department, right? There's like 50 of us, and you can easily make friends. Like you can in seminars, it's like much smaller than like any other like course. The lectures are very like just in normal classrooms. It just feels like very laid back. It's very it's not like too like, it's not, what I'm trying to say is like it's not too like heavy, you know what I mean? And it's very chilled out.
Yeah. And how about you, Bella?
Because my degree is like joint honours, so you're between two departments, it can sometimes be a bit difficult to make solid friends because obviously you have like a whole kind of like department over there and then another half of your modules is with different people sometimes. And I found it really hard at first to kind of get to know people well because, you know, they would have like all 6 modules together and I would only have maybe like 1 or 2. But eventually, like I've made really, really good friends in the departments, like some people who I would call like my closest friends here. And they also took years out, which was kind of a bonding experience. So let alone did I learn, like, you don't have to be anxious, like talking to new people in the course because they're all in the same kind of like level as you are. It seems really daunting at first that you might not be as clever as them if they're talking and seem to know a lot as well. But gradually you realize that like you're all kind of like at a fresh start here and no one really knows more than you. And the other thing was obviously that like I was nervous after coming in from a year out, especially because I thought like, oh my God, I've forgotten everything. But there's so many other people who are in the same situation. And I even have like a mature student. He's in his like late 40s, late 50s. So that also kind of like reminds you that everyone here deserves to be here regardless of what your path into uni has been.
That's so good. And then both of you two are doing like either joints or like quite a broad degree. I mean, Danish, could you like explain to me more what's your degree like? And Bella, could you explain like what is a joint honours and how have you found, doing both? What's the difference between philosophy and theology?
Well, visual arts and film is basically like 2 spectrums, right? It's you could do film studies. That's one major part of it. And you also have visual arts, which is literally anything. It could be history of art. It can be visual media. It could be photography. It can be anything that is visual. It could be, you can analyze anything in essays. It could be a front cover of a book, anything that you can critically analyze. That pretty much defines it. But I prefer the film part because I just love filmmaking, you know.
Just to go into like the joint honours kind of thing. Before I came to uni, I thought maybe it didn't have to be 50-50 split. I thought it could be like 70-30 or like 25, like 75 or whatever. If you do come and do a joint honours of like anything, even if it's like the MLAT courses, like Spanish and French, it has to be a 50-50 split. So you, at first year at least, you'll take like 3 modules from the one half of the department and then like 3 modules from the other. And sometimes it can be a bit like confusing when you're applying for the modules. So you have to really know your faculty handbook if you're doing a joint honours because that will kind of lay out everything that you need to know. I really recommend like kind of like looking ahead and like getting to know your course modules. In terms of like the difference between philosophy and theology, philosophy is, at least here, it focuses on like the analytic philosophy. So it's very logical, it's very engaged. Whereas theology is the complete opposite. They try and be a lot less analytic and logical. It's very much focused on kind of like faith, but not always in the Christian sense. Faith in just like understanding the fact that there's a lot we can't understand, which can sometimes be a bit of a conflict with philosophy. But I really like kind of engaging with both sides of that like school of thought.
Great. And then, reflecting back on your first year, like studying your degree, what have you found most interesting in and most challenging?
Well, for me, the most interesting part of my degree was probably one of my optional modules. It was Middle Eastern cultures, and it very much related to my main degree. And the most important thing about it was looking at Islamic art and looking at Middle Eastern like art and just seeing like how diverse that region is. And like it also introduced like the idea of like post-colonial like frameworks and stuff like that. And I just found it very, very engaging, very intimate as well. And it's just very powerful.
So when I first like started the course, I assumed my favorite module would be ethics and values because when I was in A level, that was the paper that I loved the most and that I did the best on. And I was like, oh, I have to do ethics because even my teacher was like, oh, this is for you. This is like completely suited to your way of thinking. But then like now that I'm here after completing the first year, I would say history of Christianity was my favorite module, which seems to be a bit of surprise to me because that was an exam that was 100% of the course. And it was very stressful. But it was so fulfilling knowing that you'd learn all of that history and been able to engage with it. And it's really easy to see like how much you've progressed intellectually from the start of the course. I mean, in the first term when he was like kind of like giving you all of this new information, and I'd never studied Christianity before, it wasn't the paper that we did at A-level. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to learn all of this. This is like 3,000 years of very rich history, especially with a lot of crossover to Islam. And then by the end of the course, when I was writing the exam, I was like, oh no, I know this. I've worked really hard. So I think that's why it's my favorite, because you know that you've worked hard and you know that it's paying off.
So good. And then, yeah, I guess on the negative side, what have you found perhaps a bit more challenging, or about studying maybe in university in general, or for your degree specifically as well?
I guess it's just more of a personal thing, like trying to like really stop procrastinating, you know, because that's just really like, it's a nightmare. But for me, the ways I handle it is just trying to work like a really tight schedule, like 9 till 5, either getting my lectures done, getting the seminars done, or doing some reading for seminars, and like etc. You know, just to like really not force myself, but like really like nudge myself into like getting like into the routine of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a real struggle, like procrastination. And also you've got to kind of come up with your own schedule here. Whereas I find when you're at A-level, when you're in school in general, you kind of like feel like there's always a presence on your back to like keep working. Whereas here, nobody's going to push you to do the work. You have to do it yourself. You have to push yourself. But I think the hardest thing I found was kind of the jump from the essays, because writing essays at A-level, especially in religious studies rather than philosophy A-level, was very different to how they want you to write here. And also there's a very big difference between writing a theology essay and a philosophy essay. They sometimes want very different things, especially in the history of Christianity, because they're more source questions. But it's kind of something you learn gradually, that different lecturers will probably want different things to somebody else in the university, or even in the department itself. That's just a skill that you learn gradually. It's nothing to be scared of when you first arrive.
So good. And then moving on to the next question, which is about, I guess, yeah, your contact hours, like how much do you get? And about, you know, you said a lot of independence, like reading. I think for both your degrees, it's quite a lot of reading. How do you navigate around that? And yeah, what would also your typical day look like on a usual week? I know we just finished exam seasons, so there's probably not the typical day of a uni life. But back in like Michaelmas and Epiphany, what would your week or day look like studying your degree?
Well, my usual day would, like, we don't really have that many 9 a.m.s for visual arts and film, but I'll try to get up really early and get some reading done for either seminars, just to get an idea of what to like expect, what questions that might arise, what we're going to discuss. Really try to like also do some of my own extracurricular stuff as well. I like to fit that in, like other readings and stuff like that, because social life is also really important as well. But like also, usually the typical day is just lectures, seminars, going on to reading for me. And I spend a lot of time in the Billy B. That's a great resource. Like either if I'm not in a lecture, you'll probably find me in the Billy B.
Yeah. I think contact hours, I feel like maximum for Arts and Humanities tends to be about 10 to 12 hours a week. Sometimes it can be more, say if you've had something rescheduled, or if you do like maybe a 2-hour lecture. But yeah, it's really not that much when you think about in comparison to like the STEM subjects, which sometimes can have like 24 hours a week. But what I found really helpful was a lot of my friends do chemistry, and their days start at 9 a.m. every day. So even though I didn't have many 9 a.m.s, I would get up and eat breakfast with them at 8 every day. And then I would read beforehand, get prepared for the lectures, get prepared for the tutorials. I'd always try and do the work before the day, at least 2 days before, because it can really add up if you get behind. And then, yeah, Chad's is obviously a catered college. That's really helpful, because you don't have to spend the time cooking. And the Billy B is also like, it is a really good resource, but if like the college kind of has a library of its own. I found that really helpful. So Chad's has like 8 kind of library spaces, and I usually just worked in there. So yeah, it was mainly working in the Fenton Library right in the attic at the top of Chad's college, and then being like, oh my God, there's a world outside. But yeah, it's still really fun.
Danish, you briefly mentioned about the social life. So yeah, what do you two do outside your degree? Like, are you part of any societies? And yeah, how have you found them? And is it too late to like get into one if you didn't sign up on Fresher Week? So yeah.
It's never too late to join. You could always join. Usually I go for stuff that is completely different from my degree. I want to engage myself in different like ideas, you know? So I'm part of like, I'm part of DU student filmmaking, which is great. I'm part of debating. What else? Some rowing stuff as well for like Collingwood. And the social life in there is just so easy to make friends. They're always so accessible. And they're always like on there, and I like just to like a lot of them are free, so you can just turn up, and it's just great. It's a great way to meet people.
Yeah, exactly what Danish said. It's never too late to join a society. Like I didn't join any societies during first term, and then even like in second term, I was so busy sometimes with summatives that I was like, oh, I don't really have like any time to do it. But then this term, I've really engaged with the AI Safety Society. And I'm now doing their like social media management side, trying to build up the society and like show people that it's really important to be aware and like educated on AI. And even though it sounds like quite technical, it's really nice kind of getting to engage with people outside of your department, especially since in a university setting, there's a lot of conflict between like STEM and humanities subjects sometimes, like you're really pitted against each other. So I really recommend kind of like branching out and making interdisciplinary friends. I'm now friends with a lot of computer science students, ranging up to like PhD level. And it's really eye-opening getting to hear them talk about their experiences and what they've learned. So I think that's the benefit of like the social side of university, outside of kind of like clubbing and partying, which is very fun. But yeah, I really like kind of encourage people to join societies and don't feel worried that like, oh, I didn't join like in the first term and will I have any friends? Because you can make them later.
Yeah, that's so good. We only have 2 more questions left. And I guess, yeah, the first question is, how did you like choose your college as well? So I know you're in Chad's, Collingwood, quite different vibes. Did you go off vibes, or was there other factors that came into consideration for your college?
Well, I'm a very sporty person, so Collingwood has a
So you live up to the stereotypes.
Yes, living up to the stereotypes. But Collingwood has a lot of great sports facilities, and it's just a great college overall. Just outside of that, if you're not into sports, it's just the community is great. They're great. There's lots of people in Collingwood. It's like probably one of the biggest colleges, and so you'll meet anyone, like any people from different subjects, different like backgrounds, and it's just such a diverse college, and I love it. I love it to death.
Yeah, so I ranked Chad's as first. I'm pretty sure if you want Chad's, you have to rank it first. And it's amazing. It's such a good environment. I remember it was kind of one of the like the 3 colleges I saw on the open day or something, so we just didn't really have time to go everywhere. And I remember people saying like, oh, it's got like 8 library spaces, so it's a bit of a nerdy college. And I was like, oh, I'm a bit of a nerd, so maybe this is for me. But to be fair, like the second college I put was John Snow, which is a big difference. That's a self-catered college, but I think it kind of shows that like regardless of where you get in, regardless of like what college you've ranked first, if you maybe don't make it and you make it into a different college, every single one of them is good. Every single one of them has good vibes, good people. I have a lot of friends who are in different colleges and they're lovely. So it can sometimes feel a bit disheartening if you don't get into your first college. And obviously I was very lucky to get into Chad's because it's a bit competitive. But if you don't worry, don't panic. You will have a good time and you will make so many good friends.
Definitely. And then finally, the last question is, what would be your final words of wisdom or advice for your like younger self? So imagine you like before you came to Durham, what was the sort of advice you feel like you really needed before coming here? And yeah, just anyone right now considering like doing their A-levels right now or finished and deciding between universities, like, yeah, what would you recommend?
I'd say don't hesitate. Whenever there's an opportunity that comes up to you that you might be interested in, that you might think that you'd fit in well, take it. Don't delay. Always just take whatever opportunity you can. Do whatever you want. Immerse yourself. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think just like, don't doubt yourself. Like, so many people will doubt you and so many people will try and tear you down throughout life. You got to be your biggest supporter. And A-levels can be so hard, and then university is even harder sometimes. And you just have to keep believing in yourself. You can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to. I definitely needed to be told that back in A-levels. And I know so many other people, especially waiting for your results to come out, can be so stressful, and you just have all of this doubt, but it all works out in the end.
Yes. And clearly you two are a testament to that. So yeah, they've shown you like you can make it to the other side, and we really hope that you consider Durham or end up wherever you end up, that you'll thrive there as well. So yeah, we really hope you found this helpful for studying in Arts and Humanities, and anything about questions more you can find on UniBuddy. There's usually students that can answer about your course, or check out their courses as well, because it sounds like really cool courses. So we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.